I'm Stephen, USSR Robinson, and you're watching Sport Icons. Papa!
Okay, so to follow on and give everybody an update from yesterday's video, where Martin Bakole, or at least his team, his representatives, i.e. Billy Nelson and maybe MTK and that involved, have put in a letter to the IBF saying how Tony Yoka cannot fight Filip Hrgovic for the IBF final eliminator to become the IBF mandatory challenger, because Tony Yoka has a contract with Martin Bakole. Of course, that fight was meant to take place on January the 15th, obviously due to France and their lockdown rules of no sporting events. They were looking to reschedule, so a contract was still valid apparently, or maybe they renewed the contract, I don't know. So either way, the IBF have agreed to the request of Martin Bakole. Tony Yoka has to now fight Martin Bakole. Now, I'm not against that fight. When that fight was originally announced, I was excited as anybody. I was as happy as a sandboy. I really was. For me, that's a fight where both fighters deserve huge, huge props. But of course, what we want to see is this IBF mandatory situation sorted out. We want to see that. Now, I do have to ask the question, did Tony Yoka know? Is that why he accepted the Filip Hrgovic fight, knowing full well that he already had a fight with Martin Bakole? They're saying, well, I want to fight Filip Hrgovic. I know people are calling him the boogeyman, but I'm willing to do it. Come give me props. It's not my fault that I can't fight him. I'm willing to do it. But really, he never actually wanted to fight with Filip Hrgovic because he knew he had a contract with Martin Bakole. Maybe. Now, I also have to ask the question of the IBF. When you're going down the list for potential suitors for Filip Hrgovic, obviously you're going down the list. You reached up to number 5, Tony Yoka, after, of course, previously the likes of Luis Ortiz and Josie Parker and that turned down the fight. When you got to Tony Yoka and you wrote him the letter or the email, however it was, offering him this fight, surely you knew he had a fight with Martin Bakole. I mean, it was pretty obvious that they had a rescheduled fight. Surely you should have asked the question, are you contractually obliged to fight Martin Bakole? If not, it's a Filip Hrgovic fight. So you do have to ask the question, what's the IBF doing? How did they not know? Now, next in line for Filip Hrgovic to go down will be the number 6, Joe Joyce. Yes, please. Thank you very much. Put a bit of sugar and cherry on top of that one. I would love to see Joe Joyce versus Filip Hrgovic. And of course, what it does is it eliminates a mandatory position as well. Yes, it's going to create the IBF one, but Joe Joyce is a WBO mandatory. But the WBO has only just been fulfilled with Alexander Usyk, so it goes back round again. The WBA is next, then the IBF, then the WBO. So Joe Joyce could be waiting for a long, long time. And if he was to accept this fight with Filip Hrgovic, and he beats Filip Hrgovic as an example, listen, he's a mandatory in both positions, isn't he? WBO and IBF. That's pretty much a dead cert that he's going to be getting that world title shot much sooner than maybe he thought he was going to. Again, the IBF are very, very strict with their rules. You can agree with their rules or disagree with their rules. Doesn't matter. They have their rules and they will follow them. But they're probably the only ones who actually do. So you have to give them massive props for that. Champion, you will fight your mandatory challenger within this time frame. If not, we'll strip you. They've done it with Tyson Fury. They've done it to Canelo Alvarez. They've done it to Triple G. They'll certainly do it with the winner of Joshua and Usyk. So that's probably a more favourable position if you're Joe Joyce. But if not, I can kind of understand it in some ways. Would it be a duck? Arguably. But then Ajit Kabiel is up next. He ain't taking it. Not in your life is he taking it. If he does, listen, he'll probably just get battered by Filip Hrgovic anyway. But Ajit Kabiel, undefeated, former European heavyweight champion. But I say he doesn't fight anybody. He's still fighting journeymen and gatekeepers. Even though he's, 20 fights deep. He hasn't fought anybody with a pulse since Derek Chisora. He just hasn't. So for me, just skip out going backwards and forwards with all these people who are pretty much going to say no and just go straight to Hughie Fury. Hughie Fury ain't going to say no. Hughie Fury is currently number 14 in the IBF. Just go straight to him. He's the only one who's going to say yes. I guarantee you, Hughie Fury will say yes. Peter Fury will say yes. And it's kind of an in-house fight, kind of. Obviously, a Sky Sports. You've got Hughie Fury. He's a boxer fighter, Boxxer, a Ben Shalom fighter. Filip Hrgovic is a Wasserman fighter, Sauerland. Co-promoted with Matchroom and that, of course. But Wasserman and Sauerland are Sky Sports. So it's kind of an in-house fight in some way. So why not? We know that Zhilei Zhang said that he'd like to fight Filip Hrgovic. Listen, mate, just continue fighting journeymen and gatekeepers, because Filip Hrgovic would punch your face to the back of your head. Don't do it. Just don't do it. Please don't do it. I know he's a Olympic silver medalist, but that was a long time ago, and he seems to be becoming a little bit disabled in that ring. That's what he looks like. Really. So anyway, we'll have to wait and see what happens. Of course, there's going to follow the process. They'll offer Joe Joyce and then move down the list to Cabello, and eventually maybe they may get to Hughie Fury, who may actually say yes. But I've got a feeling it's going to end up being Filip Hrgovic versus Zhilei Zhang, or Zhang Zhilei, depending on whereabouts you're from, as to how you call his name. But Zhilei Zhang, nah. Please no. But I mean, if you're Filip Hrgovic, why not? Why not? Just take the easy fight. Just go fight Zhilei Zhang. All right. Anyway, Martin Bakole wins. Tony Yoka is not allowed to fight Filip Hrgovic for the IBF mandatory position. Did Tony Yoka know? Quite possibly. Anyway, drop your thoughts below. Click thumbs up, subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next video. Have a great weekend.